We're not live yet, so that's great, but my mic works. How about you?
I think my mic works too.
Awesome, all right.
All right. Did you find any breakfast tacos today?
No, I didn't have breakfast tacos. I actually had Starbucks. Oh, we're live. Oh, right.
All right. Well,
hello, everyone. Welcome. My name's Ali. I'm a developer advocate here at Filecoin. I'm joined by Mosh.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mosh. We're live here at the Web3 Hacker House, running today and tomorrow at Graber House on South 6th in Austin, Texas. So after a packed days 1, 2, 3 at the Graber House, today is much more about collaboration, community, connection. We're delighted to have you all here. Let's see.
100%.
Yep.
I've flown all the way from Australia just to meet you guys, so come and hang out. I'd love to hear about your projects and thoughts and ideas. We've heard so many talks the last 4 days here at the Graber House too, so I really want to connect with the community, see what projects you're building. I've been overhearing some chatter already about some cool stuff happening. We've got Mona upstairs still as well that are hanging out, so from the Monaverse. And
yeah, you can check out their
their interactive display
gallery upstairs.
They've got the Oculus out, or renamed Meta, which no one can ever say again. No, sorry. Totally ruining it for us. No.
Yeah. And you know, the reason we're all here, the reason Protocol Labs and Filecoin and Ipfs and NFT storage all exist is because of you all, because of the builders. Alan Kay, legendary computer scientist, said the best way to predict the future is to create it. And you know, we're here building technologies, tools, projects at the edge of the internet, at the edge of the current web stack, and trying to advance the web stack as well. And you know.
And on that intersection of creativity and tech as well, which, you know, to be honest, like computer science and science has always been that way. There's always been that creative side. You have to think outside the box to come up with new theories and ideas. Otherwise, we'd all still be thinking the Earth was the center of the universe. So thanks to everyone pushing the envelope out there.
Yeah. So we've got tooling, we've got open source grants, we've got accelerator programs, hackathons, developer advocates, devs here to help you out. Just wanted to introduce a few of the folks who are here today. Chris is in a very important meeting and will be down soon, but Chris is wearing the best jacket in Graber House today.
He's always got these great shirts on, like florals, or is it damask? What do you call it on a shirt?
So very easy to identify. And he's from the NFT storage and Web3 storage team. And then we've got Ali.
Hi, everyone.
Smart contract expert, NFT.
I mean, let's not go that far, but sure.
Yeah. So any projects along those lines? You got Ali.
Love tinkering, tinkering.
I'm Mosh. I've been working with Ipfs and Filecoin for a bunch of years. So if you have questions about weird tools or, you know, databases or APIs that, you know, hey, I think this thing exists. Can you help me figure out what it is and where to find it?
Business queries as well, storage queries. Mosh knows everything, I swear.
And then I've got David in the purple jacket. David Choi, product manager from NFT storage and Web3 storage. So
complete tooling expert, and does an amazing presentation as well. So we're going to hear from him
Anything
today.
You want to know about CIDs, retrieval, and then free long-term decentralized storage, David's your man. So please come find us, chat with us, anything that you'd like to know or get help with on your project, we are here for you. And then the last thing, because this is not about us, it's really all about you, we're going to do a quick round of intros all around the room of everyone who's live here today, and then live stream folks just play along. And the way we're going to do it and also get through this big room really fast is to just introduce ourselves with 3 words each. So your name, your organization, if you have one, or project, and then 3 words. All right?
All right. Are you starting?
I guess I'm starting. I'm Michelle or Mosh. I'm with Protocol Labs. And I am about founders, devs, and content addressing.
Pressure's on. What's my name again? No, I'm Ali, Filecoin Foundation. I'm about developers. Well, I was going to say I'm Australian. That's pretty obvious, and that, yeah, pretty much open source. And I love like enabling people to build. So that's why I love developer advocacy. So, yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Actually, just putting you on the spot. Yep. You. Awesome.
Hey, Andrew, OpenQ and open source, one word, open dash source, and DAO tooling, two words.
Mark Johnson, Protocol Labs, three words, sustainability, decentralized web, and open source.
These are so good. I really should have thought about mine more. No. Food is your first one. No, just kidding. You. Up the back. No? Yep.
Yep.
Oh, you need a microphone.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all
All
good.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
What's
We have
great?
one more in the back.
One more?
I'm Kyle, I'm an engineer and filmmaker. I do sci-fi, multimedia, and
Innovation. Like it. No, great. I heard a lot of similar words as well. A lot of connectivity and sustainability, which we love as well. And
Open source.
partnerships, open source, DAOs. Yep. So yeah, really cool. A lot of people wanting to make a difference and build together. So yeah, that's what we love. Cool. Good game. Good game.
All right. Well, that I think is a good transition into technology. David is going to talk us through the latest on NFT storage, Web3 storage, and where we're headed.
Is my mic off? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Is he going to connect his own computer or? Oh, he's got his. And then, am I going after David? Or? Yes.
Test. Hello? Am I good? Good? Cool. Hello, everyone. I'm David. I think it's my third time potentially introducing myself. I am the product lead for two products that Protocol Labs develops to make things easier to use IPFS and Filecoin in your applications. So I'm here to tell you about them today. And for all y'all who are hacking out there and are interested in using very simple to use services to actually have your the data you're storing out on the web be decentralized, then please do check us out. So what are NFT storage and Web3 storage? At a high level, they are sister storage products and services. On one hand, that provide the ease of use and performance that we're all kind of used to these days with traditional cloud storage. The whole 2 lines of code, high performance, high availability, that sort of thing. Alongside being able to use as your primitives and how you address data, IPFS CIDs, as well as decentralized storage on the Filecoin network, where you don't actually have to trust us that we're storing your data for the promised amount of time. You can always just check the proofs out on the Filecoin blockchain. And actually, last time I gave this talk, there was an entire 50-minute session before explaining what IPFS and Filecoin do at the core. So it's a little bit light on the details here on that, so I'll try to inject some of that in. But if you ever want to learn more about what IPFS and Filecoin are, they have great docs websites that can give you kind of an overview of what the technologies are at the core and why they're really important. So framed a little bit differently, maybe from the user's point of view, NFT storage and Web3 storage on the surface give you simple, familiar, and performant interfaces. So on the storage side, you install your client library. You can store things real quick. Things get uploaded to Cloudflare Edge workers, so it's highly available, fast. On the retrieval side, you can use HTTP URLs to retrieve your data, even though they're on the IPFS network, because as part of that HTTP URL, you include the IPFS CID there. But underneath the surface, there's all sorts of complexity. And I think for the longest time with users of IPFS and Filecoin, because folks are trying to build services on top of them, what ends up happening is that folks who are just at a hackathon and interested in using IPFS, they end up having to get really, really in the weeds on stuff. They have to, and peer-to-peer things don't always go right. You can have a firewall, and then more generally, a lot of the technology is in motion for your specific use case. You have to get really deep into the data structures of things. On the Filecoin side, you have to run a node and sync that entire chain and all that. And it can be really intimidating for a large tranche of users, and even those who have the motivation to get underneath the hood a little bit more can be difficult to understand. So we try to save users from all that, and the interface in between the ease of use and what's going on underneath the hood are CIDs. CIDs are content IDs. They're the primitive that IPFS uses to reference data. They're a hash of the data itself. So the coolest thing about CIDs, one of many cool things about CIDs is that you actually don't have to trust anyone when you're storing and retrieving data using CIDs, as long as you're computing that CID on the client side when you're storing it, and then when you're retrieving it, you can always validate that the data you're getting back matches up with that CID just by hashing it. So I'll talk a little bit more about this in a second, but that's really what differentiates NFT storage and Web3 storage as products versus more traditional cloud storage providers. And then once you're kind of on the services today, they are very simple and get your data on there, and you can build a lot already on top of that. But there's all sorts of Web3 innovations that are coming along, both from the IPFS and Filecoin communities. So if you look at the bottom here, there's all sorts of exciting stuff coming from Filecoin that will increasingly decentralize services like ourselves even out of the picture, where you can interact more directly with decentralized storage networks, as well as secret sauce that we're including in our services to make it so that you can pretty much build anything that you can today, but using trustless Web3 technologies. I've kind of glossed over this thus far, but NFT.storage and Web3.storage are two different products. And they share similarities at the service and infrastructure layer, but they're really two different products with two different goals. And I'll double click into that a little bit more. And yeah, you can maybe read through the bullets here, but I'm going to voice it all over in the following slides. So I'll start with what they do share. So with that intersection of the Venn diagram, the goal for both these products is to provide production-ready decentralized storage. So Web3 is really in the public eye today. Applications have real users. These applications sometimes have tens and hundreds of billions of dollars invested in them or valued in them. And you can still go to a top NFT marketplace and wait 5 minutes for all the images to load on there. You know, we're in a trial period, and there is more and more attention, and there's a lot of really passionate community members who are willing to be patient. But the faster we can get to where we are today with the web more generally, the faster that others will be able to take advantage of what Web3 is building. And you know that in the end, the vast majority of folks aren't making decisions on how decentralized something is or is not. They just want things to work. So end users and developers both demand from their storage solutions specifically fast and reliable storage, CDN speed retrieval, infrastructure that can scale to whatever they need, and just simply the ability to store any sort of data. And you know, it could be data size or file types or like video, and have it formatted in a way where you can stream it and all that stuff. And you know, it just got to work in the end. So what we do is structure our infrastructure to lean into a lot of existing cloud infrastructure done in a way where we're not locked into them and we don't have to trust them, but taking advantage of the fact that, hey, you know, a lot of cool technologies have been built to be able to solve a lot of the problems of performance and reliability and that sort of thing. I still think it's really cool that you can snap your fingers and you know, the amount of storage that you're paying someone for can elastically 10x, right? Like, gone are the days of a restaurant having to run their website in the server in the back room, and they get like half an hour of some you know, developer's time a week to like debug any issues, and they can be down for multiple weeks as a result and things like that. So we want to lean into the innovations that exist to provide that sort of service level to our users. At the same time, we can't just recreate AWS or whatever. We need to maintain trustlessness in the system. So gave a quick overview of IPFS CIDs before, and I would encourage you to read more in depth about it. But you know, what it comes down to is as long as you can trust the cryptography, you don't have to trust the services you're using. So with Web3 storage and Nft.storage, content addressing and Filecoin proofs are the star. So the first two kind of sub-bullets in the second bullet up here, they reference what content addressing does for you. So before uploading any data to Nft.storage and Web2.storage, you compute the CID of that data locally. So you take the content, you compute its hash, and you know that's the hash of the data. That is a property of the data itself. No matter who gives that data to you in the future or whatever, you can always verify that. And that's what you're going to end up referencing the data with when you pull it down from IPFS. And then I guess that is the trustlessness created from like that data layer of using our services. There's still the infrastructure layer where, you know, maybe you don't have to rely on us or be locked into us to be able to reference your data in a universal way, but you're still relying on us to be up. And how do you know that your data is safe? Well, if we go down, we do store all the data in Filecoin deals on the Filecoin network, 6+ replicas across independent storage providers, and you can always at any time check the Filecoin blockchain to verify that this data is safe. So really quickly, Filecoin is a type of IPFS, but it comes with some extra secret sauce where Filecoin storage providers who say they're storing your data have to periodically submit cryptographic proofs validated by the network and end up on the blockchain that your data is being stored for a specific duration of time, the exact data with that exact storage provider. So don't have to trust us. Check the Filecoin blockchain. It's all in the cryptography that your data is safe. And then, yeah, once the data is on the network, you can pull it down and a multitude of ways. You just locally can verify it's correct if you need to make things fully trustless. And one cool thing about IPFS, another cool thing about IPFS, is that you can store more copies of the data wherever you like. You're not locked into us in any way. Store the data in as many places as you need to feel comfortable. We're just able to provide a simple on-ramp for you to get the data onto the network in the first place. Zooming in a little bit more on Nft.storage and how it differs from Web3.storage. So we talked more about the similarities so far. Nft.storage, the mission initially was to really drive home IPFS CIDs as the standard in NFTs. And the way we sought to do this is kind of like two-pronged. So first, making it super easy and simple to be able to generate IPFS CIDs for your data. So as a reminder, NFTs don't store all their data on-chain in the NFT itself. They make references to off-chain data. And it's really important for that off-chain reference to be a unique property of the data itself. So no one can ever argue with you that that data is actually the data that your NFT is referring to. So making this as easy as possible will help make IPFS CIDs kind of the primitive here. And at the same time, the other side of the problem with NFTs and the off-chain data side is that the data actually has to be available. So if you ask the IPFS network, hey, here's my CID, give it back to me, you should be able to get it back. And we want to be one of the folks who are able to provide a trustless, decentralized, multi-generational, decentralized storage option for NFTs. So by storing it into Filecoin. And Filecoin deals are finite. So today we're renewing those deals manually, and we monitor the Filecoin chain to kind of make sure that at least X number of copies are on the data at any point. But the plan in the future is to increasingly decentralize ourselves, instrument things like smart contracts. We'll do this listening for you. Always spin up new Filecoin storage deals to keep the number of copies and the redundancy up to a certain point, even as deals expire or go offline, and fund this all through an endowment in a DAO. So that's kind of like the high-level vision of Nft.storage, and it's really transformed things into the mission being enabling NFT persistence as a public good. And really, the potential of NFTs is to be an immutable data graph of the web. When you think about what the internet initially was vision-wise, it was trying to create a graph of data out there that was publicly accessible. And there's institutions like the Internet Archive and others looking to preserve that sort of thing. We think NFTs are going to be a big part of the story moving forward. So with NFTs, all the parts that are on-chain are obviously immutable. We just want to make sure that that off-chain component can still maintain that data graph, because the NFTs without that off-chain component really lose a lot of their value. Talked a little bit about the decentralization mechanisms that we're hoping to use. One other thing I'll call out, or two other things I'll call out. It's free to store data on Nft.storage, and it will be persisted for free. We are able to do that today because Filecoin storage is extremely cheap today. It's, I think, something like 1,000? Some number of zeros in scientific notation, I don't know, but cheaper than S3 storage per unit of data stored. And the other thing I wanted to mention was we are in the background doing something called Nifty Save, where we're scraping the chains out there that contain NFTs and persisting that off-chain data for folks. And if you are already using IPFS, you immediately get another copy of that data that is just helpful for redundancy, makes it more likely that that data can be retrieved more quickly. A lot of NFTs were minted via things like HTTP URLs. So now you have a minting transaction for an NFT that is referencing an HTTP URL, and we have separately stored a copy that is content addressed. The plan is to publish a data structure mapping all NFTs to the CIDs of them. So now folks who use an HTTP URL originally, but now that server has disappeared or someone forgot to pay their storage bill or whatever, they can reference this data structure to get back their NFT data. That's kind of the end-to-end mission here. We're iterating more over time to kind of fulfill this vision. But if you are storing any NFT data out there and you just want an easy-to-use experience that maybe you're excited about our mission, maybe you're a little skeptical, whatever. No cost to try it out, and store your data everywhere else that you need to make yourself feel comfortable. And moving on to the Web3.storage side, it's, again, very similar product, but it's the difference here is it's much more generalized. It's really there for any storage use case out there. So it's no longer trying to store data as a public good, but any other storage use case out there, check out Web3.storage, and you can really build whatever on top of us. It can be an end-user-facing application. You can build developer tooling or even instrument another storage service on top of us and use us as that dumb storage layer. We're looking to unlock the potential of Web3 and IPFS CIDs, bringing Web3 more to the web, and want to enable all the creativity out there. 1 terabyte is always free for new users. Today, it's also free. Beyond that, there's some weird thing where you request more storage from us, and we check out that you have a real project. And again, Filecoin is cheap. Filecoin storage is cheap today, so we can do this. But we're moving to a more transparent model in the future, likely where users stake Filecoin to unlock more storage. So in case that's a little bit confusing to you as you check us out, do keep that in mind. And really, the roadmap for Web3.storage is to unleash the potential of Web3 by bringing in new features that embrace the fact that every entity in the network has their own decentralized identity, and you can use cryptography to securely, make sure that so-and-so has permissions to do what, or granting permissions. We just launched UCAN authorization in Nft.storage. We'll bring that over to Web3.storage soon. And then you can see new data access patterns potentially where individual end users all have Web3.storage accounts, and now they're using UCANs to authorize applications to use that storage on their behalf. And now that model of data ownership for end users is kind of unlocked versus you trusting that this application is going to do all the storage for you. I won't go too deep into the other stuff, but a lot on the horizon to be really excited about here. And I'll close on a quick teaser for those who are looking to do some hacking this week on how to use us today. Go visit the website of the product that feels like it fits your use case, create an account, and make a key, install the client library. You get a CID by one line of code, and you store it with another line of code, and then you retrieve that data at any point using that CID. Easiest thing to do would be to use an HTTP gateway, but depending on your application, you might want to spin up your own IPFS node to do that, or use other retrieval methods. Yeah, check us out. We got websites, we got docs, we got Discords. Follow at NFT_storage on Twitter. I run the account, so it'll be fun. And I think that's all I had. If folks in the audience had any questions, happy to answer them. Otherwise, or I don't know if we have a chat for people streaming, if there's a chat for questions, but otherwise, can move on to the next stuff. Yeah. Does she need a microphone? Yeah.
If the content is hashed locally and validated locally, then how are third-party applications getting access to that data?
Do you mind defining what you mean by invalidated?
Oh, validated.
Oh, validated locally. How are third-party applications going to use it?
Yeah.
So that would just happen at the application layer. So depending on your structure, one simple example of folks using Nft.storage is OpenSea uses Nft.storage when you use their freeze metadata feature when minting an NFT. You click on that. OpenSea has you compute that CID locally, but then OpenSea will keep a copy of what that CID is in their databases and stuff like that. That CID also ends up in the minting transaction for the NFT. So now it's open and anyone can see what the CID is associated with your given NFT. So now everyone kind of knows what that is. And it becomes public at that point. So anyone can pull down that data with that CID. And if they want to validate that that data is proper, then they can always run the hash themselves. But one kind of crazy thought exercise is thinking about all the weird data access patterns that you can enable using CIDs at the core. So this is something that looks very traditional with the additional component of trustlessness of the transactions on the blockchain telling you like what this NFT was associated with the CID authorized by so-and-so, like public key or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you can get kind of crazy with all the things that you can unlock.
Just to follow up, is there anything keeping track of the various, I guess, nodes? I'm not really sure how Ipfs is structured. The various nodes that have validated this CID, or like basically anyone who's used it at some point?
So not really. I mean, you can look in the IPFS network. Like IPFS has a few different ways to provide content to each other. So that's all public. You can see what nodes are broadcasting what content. I guess I'm not a deep expert on this, but I guess like a node could lie about what content they have and then try to maliciously send you the wrong content. But again, that's kind of the point of being able to verify things locally.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I was just wondering if IPFS is working on anything for decentralized structured data, like databases?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of what IPFS quote unquote is working on, like it's a big open source community with a lot of folks building on it, and there are definitely people who are trying to build this use case. I can talk a little bit about what our team at Nft Storage and Web3 Storage are doing, where yeah, we're totally looking to enable databases to be built on top of us. So one kind of tangible thing we're doing right now, most IPFS infrastructure speaks in ways of like pins in IPFS, and a pin needs to be a complete graph of data. But we're moving to infrastructure where you can actually have like incomplete graphs of data and be able to serve up that data. So you can start unlocking database use cases on top of us by like focusing on like the diffs and that sort of thing. So yeah, IPFS is super broad. All it means is I can access data, I can reference data using this like CID, this hash of the data. What you build underneath the surface is like more to do with the implementation of it.
There's a couple other teams working on IPFS-based databases projects. So Orbit DB is one. Tableland is new for the
Oh yeah, check out Tableland. They're cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's definitely kind of the frontiers of IPFS development, but there's some cool stuff coming.
Thank you.
All right, I think that might be it. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Let's take that out for a sec.
All right, awesome. My mic's on too. Hello again, developer Ali back. So pretty much David has just done my whole presentation for me. No, kind of. So I was here to do a bit of I wanted to talk a bit more about how you'd actually implement NFT storage. So I've built a basic use case for an NFT with Solidity and with React. I think there's a lot of people in the room that will just be like, okay. But I just wanted to show everyone out there, especially if you're on our live stream, how you might go about making an NFT contract for yourself and maybe demystify this a little bit for people that maybe haven't looked too much into the basic NFT contract structure and how it works. So I think we all know what NFTs are, so I'm not going to go down the road there. They're non-fungible tokens. The main point I wanted to make is what David already has kind of made before, is that NFTs, the image or the video or the content that you attach to this NFT, that metadata needs to be stored properly, as David was talking about. So this is really where IPFS and Filecoin can play a large part in the ecosystem. So NFT properties, I'm going to bounce through this. There's so many NFT use cases and applications out there, and I really think we've only kind of touched the surface of where NFTs can go. So, you know, I wrote a list off the top of my head there of some of the NFT things. We've also heard some really cool NFT applications at the South by Southwest NFT House over the last 4 days. So there was 2 poets or language people talking about the intersection of how we could use word NFTs, and someone had created these airdropped NFTs that when you got this word, you'd then place it in another application and you'd build a poem together. So that was super cool. And it's like collective collaboration. Like everyone's gone crazy over Wordle, and this is kind of like the new Wordle. That's what I thought at the time. So that was really cool. We've got Monaverse upstairs, and we had someone called Hard Architecture showing us how to make a Monaverse NFT, so making the structure in there. Well, yep, and minting it live, so that was really cool. NFTs for social good as well. We held a sustainability panel yesterday, and it wasn't necessarily NFTs, but they were talking about how we, fund projects to keep things sustainable. So they were conserving, I think, the local land. I kind of heard it in the background, but they were conserving the local land by, keep using this crypto economic system. So there's so many different ways we can kind of think about doing good with NFTs and with blockchain, and that was my main point on this slide, I think. So anatomy of an NFT contract. I think Open Zeppelin is the best place to go to have a look if you want to have a look at the a basic NFT contract. So this is the ERC 721 contract standard. Yep. So they've even got so this is the code for it, the Solidity code for this, I should say, and you can make NFTs on lots of different chains. I actually did a live stream with Ripple yesterday who implement NFTs completely differently to this. That's another story though, but this is the ERC 721 contract. And as you can see there, it's pretty basic. You can just mint this with, a number of different, it's just a token ID and that URI that you need, sorry. I'm a bit lost without my notes, to be honest. No. Okay, so everyone's probably heard of an ERC 721, and you'll note on OpenSea they even talk about IPFS, so that's interesting. And I think I'm just going to get straight to the code. But basically, why you need IPFS and Filecoin, you need storage that's off-chain, because if you're going to store everything on-chain, that can get really prohibitively expensive. So you don't really want to be storing videos on the Ethereum chain, for example. That could get crazy. Some inspiration. So some of the projects out there that are using IPFS and Filecoin, Audius, LivePeer based on us, New York City Open Data. I think David before mentioned the Internet Archive as well. They're using IPFS and Filecoin. So there's heaps of people building on us, is basically what I wanted to say, sorry. All right, this is my project. So I built a little South by Southwest NFT House NFT collection. And if you do have like your laptop with you and a MetaMask and wallet, and I've only put this on Ring-Free Testnet, you can go and mint one of these yourself. So I will get the address for you. I don't know if I can paste it into the live chat really, but maybe I can. Yeah, maybe you can see the address here. So it's actually up live. You can go and mint your own NFT if you wanted to. soft-unit-0948.on.fleek.co. Sorry. You can also go and download this project if you wanted to start an NFT to use for yourself. So here's my contract. All I've done is extend the ERC 721 contract from Open Zeppelin. I've added a few different things to it, like I've limited the number of NFTs I wanted to. The main function I wanted to talk about is this mint my NFT function. So when I call this from my React front end, I'm passing in an IPFS URI, which is actually where I'll use NFT storage. I'll pass in this IPFS URI, and that will become the metadata for my NFT collection. And that's really all there is to this like kind of basic contract, and a few other functionalities. I wanted to make sure that that address only mints one ticket, because the point of it is to kind of be like a POAP, like a proof of attendance NFT. So I'll just connect to my wallet and show you how this works. I think I'll have to connect to a different account. Yep. So what I'm using in the background here is an SVG, and then I'm appending the name that the user inputs to that SVG, and I'm passing that in as the metadata to nft.storage to store. So as you can see, it will kind of firstly, when I click mint, it will save that metadata, so the SVG base as well as your name. And then that saves to nft.storage, and then I'll call my contract and mint the actual NFT with that metadata. And that should come up, just takes a couple of seconds. So to display it on the front end, what I'm doing is using one of those HTTP gateways that David mentioned before. But if you're using Brave or Opera browser, for example, those come inbuilt, so you can actually call an IPFS CID on Brave or Opera. I think there's one more someone was telling me about, Puma as well. So they actually have IPFS natively installed, and you can just go straight to the CID, which is cool. So that minted. So I've now got 2 NFTs minted. This, I don't know why that one says Developer Alley 2. Yeah. And it shows, yeah, so I'm actually minting one. This account already owns a ticket. And it shows the last 2. I need to tweak the code a bit. Sorry, I wrote this a little bit ago and I did it in a bit of a rush, so I need to tweak that a bit. It shouldn't be that slow in general. Feel free to put a pull request in on this though. So I'll just show you the functions that actually do that here as well. So this is my contract, and as you can see, all I've done at the top here is install nft.storage from nft.storage. I've also got an API key in my .m file, and sorry, this is my React front end in case that wasn't clear. And then I have 2 functions. The first one is, let's ignore all these connecting to wallet and chain request. Come back to that one. Yeah, so the first function is creating the NFT data. So when the user enters their name, I'm going to create the NFT data and save it to NFT storage, like I said. So I'm creating a client with NFT storage. Super simple, right? Like David said, 1 line of code, you're good to go. Those are the kind of tools we like to use. The next thing I'm doing here, I'm just using like an encrypt package, a React encrypt package to make sure someone doesn't like kind of try and insert their own SVG in here. That's basically all this code does, but I've got a base SVG. I'm appending the name to the end of that file, and that's how I bring up like kind of personalized NFT image here. So then client.store, name, description, image, everything you'd see in a classic in the metadata for an NFT in general. And then you can add whatever else you like to this. So if you wanted to add traits, you wanted to do something like that, you could definitely add that to this as well. And then you can see that the metadata, so that's it. That's how you save to NFT storage. You've got 8 times redundancy, you get a CID, and you know, all I needed to do was import a package from NPM. So that's what I love about this one. So thanks, David and team. Appreciate that. I can have a quick look, I think in the code. Sorry if I'm flicking a bit. I think in the code we should probably have seen that call. So this would be the response from, nope, that's not it. We can probably do it. It's all right. Anyway, the metadata comes back basically with that IPFS CID and a couple of other things. So that's what I just wanted to show you there. And that's really all there is to connecting to NFT storage. So that's how we store it. If you wanted to display it, I've also got a little function up the top here, creating the image view. So as you can see, I'm kind of just splitting down the CID that I get returned from the image data. I've actually got a bit of a confusing metadata name, so don't mind the splitting there. But basically all it is HTTP and I've used ipfs.dweb.link as my HTTP gateway. And this is how I set the image view and display that NFT on the front end. And that's basically it, guys. That's kind of all I wanted to show you today. So hopefully a decent get started guide on how to build your own NFTs. You can also download this from GitHub. It's free to use, and you can go and mint your own NFT. Yay! That is it for our live stream as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us online. Next up, we're going to hear from Chris at the Graber House, though. Here he is in his swanky shirt. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Ali.